things. I'll tell you what. Again, for those in the community who are listening and they're at home, it is Christmas Day, and like I told y'all, we're talking about civic responsibility in athletics. So I did say that this brother, and I want to say it again, is a gold medal winning gold medal.
Bronze medal.
Bronze medal? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
It's a team event.
Well, when you look at bronze, don't it look kind of gold? Hey, listen. In the Olympics, y'all. Welcome Derrick Banks to the show, Solar Brother. Let's first of all, let's tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you got into bowling, because, you know, we see, when it comes to especially the Olympics, we see us in basketball, we see folks in the community. When I say us, I mean people in the community, urban community. I'm going to be politically correct. We see them in everything else, not so much bowling. Correct me if I'm wrong, and then give us a synopsis about how you got into that, Mr. Derrick.
Well, in the 60s, my father was a political activist when Martin Luther King Jr. got killed. And there was rioting in the streets. He needed something for us to do. And a lady across the street, Miss Hannah, says, hey, we're going to start a bowling league. It was on Fridays, and that was the one day my father didn't have me and my brothers something to do on. So we started bowling on Fridays at Palisades Bowl on the south side of Chicago. And it just grew from there. Me, my cousins, my brothers, we all started bowling. And it became more serious. The one thing I liked about bowling was it gave me my own independence. I didn't have to ask anybody for any help to do it. I could do it all myself. And from there, it just grew. And then we had bowled all the way up into high school, and I had loved it. And when I graduated from high school, I wanted to go out on the Pro Bowlers Tour after college. But a strange thing happened on my way to college. I walked away from college and said, hey, I want to be a pro bowler. And became a pro bowler in roughly 1980. I bowled 8 years on the Pro Bowlers Tour, won 3 Pro Bowlers Tour titles. And then for those of us who were kind of young, Fluky Stokes was our sponsor, was killed actually Christmas Day. He was killed the Christmas weekend. And I dropped my pro card, went on the Amateur Bowlers Tour, and had a fantastic amateur career. I went to Las Vegas in 1990 when the Hardee's Deluxe American Dream Title Bowling Tournament. First place was $132,000. And since that time, I've probably won over 100 bowling tournaments and have had a Hall of Fame bowling career. But the one thing bowling does for us as individuals is it teaches us self-discipline, self-confidence, helps us believe in ourselves. And no matter at what age you are, wit never gets old. But it gives you the opportunity to live a lifestyle or to do things you've never done before. I'm very blessed to have an Olympic medal. I'm very blessed to have had a good bowling career. Let's just say that. God has looked over me very well.
Okay. Well, Derrick, I tell you what, and you know what? Here's the thing. I want y'all to understand this and the gravity of this, right? 10 billion, correct myself, $10 billion industry, right?
Right.
And you have been a front bearer in it, a front runner in this industry. And I tell you what, let's talk about some of the hurdles that you had to overcome to be to get where you are, especially in that industry. What were some of the hurdles that you had experienced?
Well, you know, you're competing against some of the greatest bowlers of all time, and you have to go to different parts of the country to bowl in different cities. I mean, bowling's probably about 3% blacks and 97% whites, that's being honest. But you have to overcome that. And what you find out to learn is that bowling's a little different from most sports. Whites don't really care what color you are. It's about the money. They want to just win money. So they don't really care. They will look out for you. They will help you. But even so, you still have to improve because you're coming in brand new. You got to get better. And we always strive to be the best. You know, that was a big thing for us, going from one bowling center to another bowling for money, just to be the best bowlers. You know, and you may have to go to one part of the city. I can remember going to New York and bowling for money in New York. I can remember bowling for money in Canada, all over the country, in some places the world.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to overcome. Because to be a good bowler, you have to be able to produce in pressure situations because there's going to always come a time where you're going to need a strike, 2 strikes, possibly 3 strikes to win the match and win the money. And to be the best, you got to do it. You got to be able to come through in the clutch when it's necessary. But it gives you a lot of self-confidence.
Self-confidence, huh?
Right. You need some self-confidence in this business.
So, listen, for those who are listening and joining in, even on Facebook, we're talking to a young man who has been in the cusp of a very specific and unique industry. When I say in the cusp, in the frontier, on the front lines, I should say, Mr. Derrick Stein.
That's my nickname.
Right, Banks.
Yeah.
Has been, he's a bronze Olympic gold medal winning winner, and he's been someone who's been on the frontier, as I said. Let me just give you a little bit about some of the things that he's done. And when he says this $10 billion industry, I mean, you know, even when I was a child, we would watch bowling on ABC and NBC, and those competitions were huge, Derrick. Those were huge competitions, man. I remember them when I was a child. But not only is he a great bowler who's paid his dues, and he's still doing great things, but one of the things about Derrick, a.k.a. Stein Banks, is he won, you know, the Hardy's title in 1990, first place. Guess what, y'all? $132,000. $132,000. And that's... You were undefeated at that point? Or were you, what was your rank at that point?
Basically, this concept they have in this bowling tournament, you bowl one game, you win, you advance, you lose, you go in the loser's bracket. And I won 11 straight matches.
Wow.
The year before I had won, I finished in 9th, and I lost on the TV show round. If I had won the match I lost on the TV show round, I would have been on television, NBC, actually Christmas morning this morning. But I lost, and that guy was on television Christmas morning. But the next year, I won every match, and I'm a spiritual person, so there are some spiritual sciences in place that said, you keep saying it'll become your own reality. So I was telling my friends, man, I'm winning the Dream Classic next year. I told them every year I'm winning the Hardee's next year. I told them every day they talked to me, I was winning, I am winning, I am winning. And then I went and won. But I tell people all the time, you have to let God come through in your life so that he can work magic for you. Miracles, as some people say. And that's kind of like was the case. I wasn't bowling my best when I got on the plane. I remember my brother asking me, how you bowling? I said, I ain't bowling too good. What you going to do? I said, man, I'm going to win. I'm going to win the tournament, but you ain't bowling that good. No, but I'm still winning. They can't beat me. And that was the mentality I had. And you have to have that positive mindset to let God come and work through you. And I can remember bowling and sitting in the bleachers and watching myself throw strikes and saying to myself, God is working through me, because that ain't me. I mean, that's me, but God is working through me. So I've had a blessed life.
So for those of us who are just joining and tuning in, we're talking to a gentleman by the name of Derrick Stein, his nickname, Banks. And I tell you what, if you don't know him, Google him. He's out there. He's on the World Wide Web, but he is an Olympic bronze medal winning bowler, and in a $10 billion bowling industry, that's nothing to sneeze at. That is amazing. I'm going to say that again. That is amazing. And according to your statistics that we looked up, you had over 36,300 games. Yay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've been in over 11,000, almost 12,000 series, correct?
I have over 800 series.
You've been in 800 series?
Yeah, 800.
Oh, so well, anyway, you've been really busy, haven't you, sir?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. For those of us who are joining in and you want to call and talk to our guests, you can give us a call at 708-445-9922. Reach out to us, our friends who are watching us on Facebook. We're talking about civic responsibility and athletics and how that reflects directly, uniquely to the community. And this gentleman is not only a great bowler, he's not only a great sportsman, but he also understands that it takes civics. When you have a platform such as this, it takes civics and these people to engage in the community. So, Derrick, we're going to talk a little bit about your what you're doing civically, because I think that's very important. But before we get to that, let's talk about some recent headlines, okay? All right, so we got about 15 minutes, but let's talk about some recent headlines. So here's the thing. Every year, Nike rolls out its top number one product when it comes to athletic gym shoes. And what do you think that is? Which one is number one?
Jordans.
Hey, man, you hit it. See, this man is, I told y'all he was smart. Air Jordans. Air Jordans right now at this point sells over $2 billion. I'm going to say that again. $2 billion in sales annually. And guess who's buying those shoes?
Everybody.
Everybody, but more specifically, we got young folks who are buying $200-300 shoes who literally can't afford them. So what happens at this point is Michael Jordan was interviewed, and here, let's be clear, we don't want to knock on Mr. Michael Jordan, you know, especially being from Chicago, but $2 billion, and Jordan made a statement more recently. He said, you know, because what happened was kids were getting killed over these shoes. They were getting robbed. There's a lot of confusion behind the Jordans with branding. There's a problem, especially in the black and urban communities, about these $300 shoes.
Right.
Now, there are others, even with the violence included, that say, why are the shoes $300? Why are they not accessible to folks who would like to buy them, but they can't because they're $300? And maybe that would eliminate some of the confusion. Well, in response to that, I want to say this is fact-based statement. Michael Jordan said, hey, that's not his problem. He's here to sell shoes. What do you think about that?
I don't think that's too cool. I think that, if we do research ourselves as people, it costs about $4, maybe $5 to make a pair of Jordan basketball shoes with the boxes. So now if the shoes cost $4 or $5 and you're a parent, think very carefully about what you're doing, because hey, $4 or $5 to make shoes that you can sell for $300 just because they got Jordan's name on it. I don't think that's fair to people. I think the shoes would be $50, at best $100. So, but we live in a society that says whatever value a product is, whatever you can mark it up to and get paid for it, so be it. But we as people have to be smarter. We as people have to be wiser. We as people have to become more educated. Because if we don't become more educated, this system will take every dollar in your pocket away from you. They're not really looking out for us, and we have to become educated so that we can look out for ourselves. You know, and a lot of times we don't look out for ourselves. We want to get what we can get right now. You know, it's like the woman that says, I got to have these nails on, that's $50. You don't got to have them. Your nails look good regular. I got to have these eyelashes on, that's $60. You don't need those eyelashes on because you look good the way you are. But it's an image-based society. And a lot of us have to realize that we are enough just as we are. And we don't have to have this. We don't have to have that. Now, if you want to buy the most expensive gym shoes in the world, or drive the most expensive cars in the world, or have the most expensive things that you have, make sure there's food in your refrigerator before you start buying it. Because I go into a lot of people's houses that's got the best of the best, and they don't have no food in the refrigerator. How come? The food is in the car.
So let me ask you this, and I definitely agree, Derrick, with some of the things that you're saying. But let's really, I want this to be very direct and clear. When it comes to young folks, college age, high schoolers, and shooting each other, robbing each other for these shoes, and then the person, be it Michael Jordan, okay, who is a legend and an iconic figure, can't take that away from him, says that he doesn't care about that and that's not his problem.
Because it's about the money.
I got a problem with that. I have a serious problem with that because your name is on that brand, brother.
Right.
And that's all about you. But for you to say it's not your problem,
that's kind of cold.
Yeah, we could do a 2-hour show about this, right?
We could.
So I want you to tell the people about what you're doing in light of that in civic responsibility. And before we do that, I just want to say, 45% of the industry in terms of dollars goes to Nike.
Right.
And who is their leading seller? Again, Air Jordans.
Right.
So my thing is, look, somebody's got to be accountable in some kind of way, especially when it comes to violence and lost lives, when it comes to young kids in our community. And if the person who has their name on these shoes don't give a D-A-M-N, don't care, then why should anybody else? Answer that for me, yes.
What we have to realize us as people is this. If somebody walked up to you today and said, where does money come from? What would you say? Most people would say it would come from trees, the government. They would give a bunch of different answers. But very few people would say that money comes from people. And without people, there ain't no money. Because every time somebody forks over some cash for something, a human being is the one transferring that money from one pocket to the next. And we need to give ourselves value as people. We need to step up and say money comes from people. And if I shoot you, I might as well reach in my pocket, take all my money out and throw it up in the wind and let the wind blow it away. Because that's what I'm doing. I go to neighborhoods now that used to be thriving. We've killed them off. There's no people there, so there's no money there. And we need to think about what we do, our responses. We need to understand that without people, there's no money. You go into an area where there's no people, no money. So keep this in mind at all times, that if you think you got to kill somebody to get some gym shoes, you're killing the money. And we need to stop. We need to stand up and say, hold it, hold it, hold it. Don't shoot him, you shooting the cash. Be cool. Shoot something else, but don't shoot the people.
Amen. Amen. So let's talk a little bit about civic responsibility. We're going to get back to some of the things that you're doing. We got about 10 minutes. So I just want to say, for clarification purposes, again, we're not knocking these iconic figures or these well-known athletes. But we want to say that, civic responsibility, especially when you have a platform, has to be present, right?
Should be.
And with a great platform comes great what? Responsibility, right? So I want to ask you about another ongoing saga, and that's the saga of Colin Kaepernick. And what is your feelings about that? Because, a lot of people in the community were empowered by Colin, but it seems like now it's becoming more, okay, this is my opinion. Somebody may argue and disagree with me. Take it or leave it if you will. I'm going to speak what I think this is my opinion. This is my standpoint on it. It's become an exploitive thing to me because I think if this brother really wanted a contract, he had a lot of options. I'm just saying, it's like, if you really want to, man, you don't have to. We're not saying go play in Europe, but it's a lot of folks who have played overseas who didn't care about the American leagues. So even if he didn't do that, this last expedition that he did, which was what? Showing up it was less than a month ago, having a exhibition thing, and then basically the teams came out to see him, and he moved it. Come on, man. Do you really want to play? Hold on one second. Go ahead.
I don't think they want him in basketball.
Football.
Mm-hmm. I just don't think they want him to be playing right now, because if you look at history, everybody who has stood up for the wrongs of people has been either killed or blackballed. Look at Craig Hodges. Right. Look at Chris Johnson before he changed his name. Okay. Once they stood up for what they believed in, Craig Hodges never played basketball again. Chris Johnson never played basketball again.
Right.
So far, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played football again. And look, I'm a Bears fan. He looked way better than Trubisky, but he may not never play football again, because once you get on the ire of the owners, they don't want to pick you up. They figure we can take one of these bums. We still gonna make our billions, because people gonna still buy our products no matter what, and we don't have to let you play football.
Well, it seems like there's a stigma there, right?
It is.
There's a stigma with him. And here's the thing. This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say this. Okay, so Colin, you made a stand. We wish you the best of luck. We wish you the best of luck in the future, but maybe it's time to choose other things. Be an activist. Run for Congress. Do something else, because you made a political stand, so you went political all the way. And hey, now that you started it, finish it out. So that's my opinion. Hey, listen, let's talk a little bit, because we got about 5 minutes. Let's talk about civic responsibility and some of the things that you're doing. And good 2-3 minutes. Tell us some of the things that you're doing when it comes to civics. And how do you distinguish yourself from folks who we talked about, who we just mentioned?
I run a crime and violence prevention program where what we do is we teach people how to think to succeed. Mm-hmm. If we're going to make any changes in our community, we can only change the way people think. We can give you a job, but if we don't change the way you think, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So basically, we need to teach success education at the highest level. Okay. They have been studying success probably for a little over 100 years, but it hasn't come to what we would call mainstream. In other words, it's not something you have to take in school. It's not something you have to take in college. It's not somewhere where, I mean, unless you yourself personally doesn't go out to find out what do I need to do to think successfully, you're not going to find it. So what we need to do is start bringing success to people. I've been going into the public schools now about 15 years. Speaking success. And I've probably spoken to over 4,000 students, and I see them run up to me on the streets today and say, I remember you. I say, from where? I spoke in your classroom. Right. You turned me around. You made me see life a little bit differently. You made me understand that I was on the wrong track and put me on the right track. So it's what we need to do. We need to change the way our people think. We need to think about being positive instead of negative.
So in less than 1 minute, tell people how they can get a hold of you and if they needed to have questions or anything additional, if they reach out and they want you to speak, tell them how they get a hold of you, Derrick.
You can contact me at 708-227-4164. That's 708-227-4164. Time don't matter. I'm self-employed, so if you call me, it's in the middle of the night because you woke up and couldn't sleep, and you need to talk to me, 708-227-4164.
Are you on Facebook?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Derrick Banks. Look for the one with the medal or my handsome face on there.
And again, what is the name of your organization, Derrick?
The program we're running is called Success Education.
Okay, Success Education. So listen, y'all heard it here. Listen, this gentleman right here is somebody who, if you don't know him, look him up, but you got to know him. Derrick Stein Banks is an Olympic medal winning, bronze, I should say, I've been corrected, bronze medal winning champion, y'all. And he's doing things in the community, and he's definitely distinguishing himself. He didn't take $136,000 or hundreds of thousands of dollars and lead a community and go buy his own island somewhere. He stayed in the community and he worked it, and he continues to stand and be a platform in our community. So listen, y'all heard it here. Listen, find him on Facebook. Find him on YouTube. You can find him online, but just by simply Googling Derrick Stein Banks, and listen, he speaks to children in the communities and high schoolers and whoever else. So let's really get a hold of this brother, because he's definitely got a strong, powerful word, but it's positive and it's much needed for the community. I just want to say in the last minute that we have, listen, y'all know what kind of shows we do. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you that the kind of shows we do are positive for the community, about the community, by the community, for the community, and it's motivational for us. So please share our shows. Join us every Wednesday, 10:30 to 11 for Soul Uprising with Bishop Gregg Greer. And listen, these are the kind of people who we need to connect with, we need to continue working with, and communicate with for our community. We need y'all to stay together. And let's see, I need a quote. Derrick, give me a quote on our last, give me a quick quote.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, all right, he's sharp. Listen, everything we do in life echoes in eternity. So when y'all out there listen on this Christmas Day, think about 2020 and how we're bringing it in. This is the last show of the year, and it's been an honor to be with you. It's been an honor to stand with you. And listen, this is how we do. Thank you for standing with us, Bishop Gregg Greer, Soul Uprising, every Wednesday at 10:30. We'll see you next time. We out of here.
Hey, Chicagoland, check out the Soul Uprising with Bishop Gregg Greer radio show, the show that brings you the best news, political and social information, all done from an inspirational perspective. Tune in Wednesdays at 10:30.